everybody, and welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. Today we are talking about Brendan Rodgers, and I have brought on two very special guests, big Leicester fans and YouTubers. Ant is with us, and so is Neil from Beyond the 90 and Ant's Leicester fan channel. Lads, how are you?
Been better.
I mean, forget about Brendan. How are you in general first?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, apart from obviously having my back done by a 4-year-old today. So life's going swimmingly.
Give it context, mate. Otherwise, people are going to come for you.
I was going to say
about.
Oh, I had a 4-year-old jump on my back whilst I was trying to lift a box up.
There's the context. There's the context to make sure But yeah, of course, we're going to be speaking about Brendan Rodgers today, as obviously, pressure is mounting. I think as we're recording as well, there's even been rumours that have broke today that he could potentially step aside. Maybe there's no smoke without fire. I don't know if I've got that phrase the right way around. But gents, I'm going to start and jump straight into it. Make sure to head over to these guys' channels, by the way. The link will be in the description. And make sure to hit that subscribe button as always. And also hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you're new here as well. But yeah, let's jump in then, guys. Brendan in or Brendan out? Neil, where are you standing at the moment?
After so I was a period of time. Now, after the Nottingham Forest game, he's gone. He's done. And it's now after we're looking at the Liverpool the West Ham game, I'm looking okay. There's slight improvement, but they're still way off it. There are players that are at fault. It's not all Brendan's fault. However, you're looking at it going, yeah, there's major problems here, and the manager has a lot to do with it. So I'm Brendan out, but I'm not saying get out of my club immediately. It's like just do you know what I mean? Just fade into non-existence, and we'll get a new guy in.
Yeah, and I mean, those that follow you on Twitter, I mean, you're very vocal about your Brendan feelings. But for those that don't, you're also Brendan out, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, and I'm similar to Neil. Like, I'm not going to be like screaming "get out now" sort of thing. But at the same time, like, I'm grateful for the 2 years that we've had under him, but we have fallen off a cliff. And as Neil said there, a huge reason for that is Brendan Rodgers. I'll say that 90% of the reason of it is down to him.
I think one of the interesting things is obviously, himself, he's coming out in the press a bit, which for me is kind of showing that he's kind of worried, even though he won't let onto it. But speaking about how there needs to be a big squad reshuffle, talking about how also obviously asking, he's almost pleading with the owners to give him the summer. Do you guys think there's any chance of that? And if he was given the summer to change things and redesign the team, do you think there'd be any chance that he could actually turn things around? I mean, or is it just now that things are just not working and it's not the players, it's the manager? Because it's a lot easier to change the manager than the players, isn't it?
If he's given the summer, I will be absolutely terrified. When you look at the fact that he went against our recruitment policy to bring in Vestergaard, one of the worst centre-backs in the league, 15 million, which for us is that's a big fee for a player with the financial situation we're in. He spent the load on that. He went against the scouts to sign Ryan Bertrand as well. And those have been two of the worst signings that we've had in a long time. It's like, we've got a brilliant recruitment team, but I don't understand why you'd go against them. And like, there was always this feeling that they weren't really Leicester signings at the time when they happened.
Sure.
But that's been now confirmed by Rob Tanner and very, very reliable people in terms of Leicester City. You look at his previous transfer records for bringing in players. You look at Liverpool, Benteke, Markovic, Joe Allen, Barini. The list goes on. Like, yes, he's had a good couple, but like the rubbish outweighs the good by quite some way. So
for sure.
I wouldn't be against him being given a bit more time if he had to step back from transfers, but he's too stubborn to allow that to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I do see that, and I think Neil, as those signings that he did bring in, they haven't done well. And I think it also goes against your recruitment policy. I think we did a video probably 6-7 months ago at the start of the season, unfortunately, saying why you guys are breaking through the big six at the time. And the recruitment policy for you guys has always been to bring them in and sell them on at a big profit to allow you to grow. And those two signings definitely go against that, don't they?
Yeah, and it's again as Anne was saying, Rob Tanner again. There's a link on our channel if you want to check out a full hour where we used to interview him. Really awesome. Same as blog. But what he did as well is that he was mentioning the so Brendan is stubborn. I think anybody can know that Brendan's stubborn. He doesn't change his ways. For example, you look at the West Ham game. Vestergaard shouldn't be anywhere near the pitch. Leicester fans are relatively like family friendly, and they understood. However, I can't remember the last time a player came onto the pitch and was booed that much. That was our own player. I genuinely can't remember how, because it was awful, like how much he was booed. But also, it shows you Brendan Rodgers, because we know it doesn't work. We're playing CDM, we're playing Wilfred Ndidi, Daniel Amate, Hamza Chowdhury's ahead of him, Soyuncu's ahead of him. He's not too surprising. But he's like fifth, sixth Chinese centre back, and for somebody that he bought for 15 million. And the whole point of him bringing him on, but in his opinion, we conceded after that. So it's like there was no need to do that. We took off arguably one of the best players on the pitch in Yuri Tillemans to do it. But again, why did he do it? I think he was stubborn. He was like, oh, well, this is what I brought him in for. But 88th minute, what are you trying to prove? And we're only 2-1. If we're 4-1 down, 4-1 up, I don't mind. But we're 2-1 down. Put him on. They came on to us, and then they scored from a set piece, which is the least surprising thing to a Leicester City fan. So that sums it up for Leicester City. Kind of our season was summarised, I think, by that result. We were terrible in the first half, awful, and then we had 20 minutes of really actually decent football. Like, well, okay, we can do something. We're pretty good, and then conceding from set pieces late on in the game. Brendan Rodgers getting his tactics wrong. The players are not playing just doing the basics at times. So that match sums it up, because you can say, oh, we were good for 20 minutes. We were 2-1 up against a West Ham side that are good, that normally absolutely hammers. So whichever way you look at it, it's really splitting the fan base and going, right, half of them are going, well, it's not good enough. And half of them go, well, this and the other. So that performance kind of split right down the middle. And if you look at it both ways, me and Ant are I think you know me. We're relatively we'll support a manager through the bad times, no problem.
Of course.
We've been doing that since the beginning, since you guys. Remember we played you when we just about won to the win again when we were playing, and you're going, oh, we got away with one there, lads. We genuinely got away with one there, and then you're looking at that, and we've actually got worse since we played you guys at the beginning of the season.
No, definitely, and I think as a Wolves fan walking away from that, I was somewhat disappointed to not have picked up a point. Never mind all three. Obviously, Ant, though, as a fan base at the moment, what would you say the split is between Brendan in and Brendan out? And do you think some of that might be more to do with those that want him in? Is it more to do with the sentimental fact? Of course, he brought you an FA Cup. He's brought you European football. Is it more to do with that, would you say, than what's actually now happening? And if maybe he hadn't have done all that, then there'd be more in unison going, yes, he needs to go?
Yeah, I think there's, as you say, a lot of credit in the bank from what he's done in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people seem to forget this about Leicester. We've probably got some of the most ruthless owners in the league. Like Ranieri won us the league, and then he was gone the next year. Like yes, with a lot of our fan base, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but particularly our older fan base, they have a lot more sentiment for it. But our board don't. Our board don't. They, like, from what you keep hearing about Top not being happy with X, Y, Z, I just don't see how much longer it can keep going on. And I want to go back to a point Neil said about the West Ham game quickly, about him saying that summed up Leicester. In our last 3 games at the King Power, we've been winning all 3 of them, and we've picked up 1 point. We've been winning all 3, by the way, up until the 80th minute. And we picked up 2 points. We were winning all 3 up until the 80th minute.
And I think it was one of them, wasn't it? Obviously, the result against West Ham this weekend, obviously, that was another late goal. Yes, you did come back from 1-0 down, but that's one of those that really, if you guys have hung on there, got an extra 2 points with your game in hand, it'd still be very feasible that you could be battling for those top 7 places if you developed a really good run. It's getting more and more unlikely now. And I think that probably brings us on to, obviously, the game being at the weekend against my team, Wolves. If he fails to win that, Neil, and he does lose that, then you've probably, at that point, you're thinking Europe's completely written off, if Leicester fans haven't written that off already. do you reckon that could be the final nail in the coffin, or has he got a bit more in the bank?
So I think we're done. I think in terms of, and you look at the teams that are coming, it's not just about in terms of Europe as well. You're seeing certain players, certain teams start to falter. Like you're looking at Spurs look like just a team on fire at the moment. Literally, you don't know what's happening. Man United are similar. Like yourselves, and I'm really happy that you guys are doing well. West Ham are up there. Looks like Villa. I think Villa have more of a shout of getting up there than we do. To be completely neutral, I genuinely think Villa will have a good shout. They've got a young potential manager, a lot of good players. Are bringing through a lot of good talent. And Jay Ramsey's a phenomenal player. I think he's scored a couple. He's a phenomenal player. So I'm looking at that, going right. Where do we sit, and how are we currently like playing? Because you look at again, we'll go through 3 games. Okay, we'll go through the Tottenham result again. It was just I don't even want to speak about that. I mean, 2 goals in 2 minutes, just mentality in the mud.
That's
the Brighton
shocking,
game, we were quite lucky to actually get a draw. I came out of that game thinking, "Oh, we got a draw." West Ham was kind of similar. West Ham were poor. We were really genuinely quite a poor team, and we know because we normally get smashed by them every season. And this season, when we played against them, they were there for the taking, and we didn't take our opportunities, and we didn't put them away. So coming into the, I genuinely don't think the only European football we've got is probably Randers. The UCL, and not to be too down. I genuinely, the thing, because I'm happy to finish mid-table, but you've got to go and compete in the FA Cup, which we haven't, and then we've got to go compete in the UCL. And what are Leicester asking for? Someone goes, "Oh, look, we're in the Europa League." Yeah, but we were in the Europa League. We should have got out of the group. I mean, we could have played Barcelona. Like if just got a draw against Napoli, or we win. We were getting against Barcelona. I guess it will be in the playoffs, but still, you're looking at not finishing locking out in the 4th round to your local rivals 4-1. Nottingham Forest are still chanting about that, and rightfully so. They will play fantastically. The mentality is not just it's just Premier League. Well, we know we have a squad to compete on multiple fronts. We're just not doing it. And we are one of the best teams in the Conference League, which is not saying much, but we should be going on and looking at getting to the final. I genuinely see us getting knocked out, and that's not me being negative. That's just me being completely realistic and going, I genuinely don't believe Rodgers can win this trophy.
And I think that'd probably be your best way of getting into Europe as well. Now, you'd probably argue, I did forget, of course, if you do win that, you'd then get a Europa League spot, which would obviously be great news for what's not been a very good season. But as you say, I think like in previous seasons, it's been the issue maybe has been that you've not had enough squad depth, but you did have a good transfer window, which I thought at the time would mean you'd really crack that top 4 position, not be sitting where you are now. Gents, so the last question I wanted to finish on to you guys, though, obviously, at the moment, both thinking maybe Rodgers should go, but who would you bring in if he does go? And because of that, does that now mean it's perhaps not the right time? Ant's got a name ready, hasn't he?
I've got about 4 or 5 names, and I've got a whole PowerPoint presentation on half of them. So don't you worry about that. So I'd love Bruno Lage from you guys, but being realistic,
you're not getting him.
Yeah, told you. Yeah,
I love is it Almiron, the Sporting Lisbon manager?
Yeah.
Brilliant attacking football, front foot football, promotes for youth. He really he's very much what Brendan Rodgers was when he first came in to us, but I think there's a lot more longevity with that, because Brendan Rodgers is everything that Mourinho was in terms of that 3rd season syndrome, and you can tell he's Mourinho's apprentice. The way that he throws people under the bus, the way that it's never his fault. So Almiron, and if that fails, Graham Potter out of Brighton.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great one, to be fair. And I think, but the problem is with those two, obviously currently at clubs, and I'm not going to even allow the Bruno Lage talks, but the other two, of course, they're both at clubs now. Do you reckon that'd be more of a possibility in the summer? And Neil, would either of those names, would they interest you? Are those the ones that are on your bucket list, or is there anyone that you could get in now potentially?
This is where this is where I kind of have a cop-out answer, but it's a real answer at the same time. Leicester, so for example, when we got rid of Pearson, it was and there was just like the floodgates were open. We thought Pearson was staying for the season, was going to try and keep us up. Then we got Ranieri, and everybody went, "Who? Oh, I can't think I've heard of him." Okay, we'll Google it. Okay, and that's kind of how our transfer policy is. We look at certain players, Even Claude Puel, who I still don't rate as a manager, he was the best of the bunch at the moment. There was nobody available. Claude Puel was the best option. The club have probably been looking at getting Rodgers' replacement for a while, considering, remember, in November, the Newcastle thing, the Manchester United thing, the Tottenham thing, the Arsenal job. There's been all these transfer rumours. The club always backs up. Like, for example, Wilfred Ndidi doesn't look like he's going to leave this season, and yet we've brought in Samore and kind of as a backup. So we do plan for the future. I do trust our owners. So it's a long way to story. I think a player, a man, I know we're not going to get large, but that kind of manager that you don't know about, he's got European experience. You've got an opportunity to build something, and we can push up that table. We will have recruited quite a few managers because our recruitment is good. It's the same thing, but just for the managers. So they know what they're doing. It's just giving them the faith. And I go, whoever you employ next, I'm behind that because I trust Leicester's scouting system. And it's kind of a cop-out answer because I like a lot of the things that you were saying, but the thing is, I don't really watch a lot of European football, so I can't tell as much as yourself and Ant. So in that kind of mold of a manager, that's what we need a Brendan Rodgers, but when he's performing like this, it's like Mourinho. It's like everything's falling. We just need that similar kind of manager. Let the club do what they do best, which is the scouting. The manager, just kind of what like Klopp does. Klopp is not really in control of that many of the management of the transfers, but he just goes, look, I trust my recruitment and they do what they need to do. That's what I'm not saying we need a Klopp, but we need somebody that just comes in and goes, right, this is what we're going to do. And that's great. And the club will learn their lessons from Brendan Rodgers. They realise they can't sack him because it's a 20-25 million release clause they put on his head. Now, I think that's going to happen. I think that we're going to get somebody in, and that's okay. But it's one of those times we're just biding our time. And I don't know if it was a similar thing for you guys under Nuno, but it was like, right, we're just biding our time. We'll see what's going to happen, but we know it's only going to go in one direction. I'm happy, and I'm not happy with the performance, but just to grind the season out, see what happens, and then we'll rebuild in the summer because certain players are going to leave that are rotting up the club a little bit as well. So refresh in the summer, kind of do what they're doing at the moment, and hopefully push on towards that top six. Because do you know what? This season as well, again, to kind of off track, a lot of people had Leicester in the top six. This season is the only season where we actually let ourselves down. Where a lot of people,
you are right. Yeah, the one that everyone expected you to actually do it. You are. I do completely agree. And to be fair, I think you're probably right. Maybe if you can just grind it out with Brendan, or if it gets that bad, even the assistant, you'd really then think that perhaps you could bring in better, candidates in the summer, so to speak. But guys, thank you obviously for joining us as always. As I've said before, I have dropped both Beyond the 90 and Ant's Leicester fan channel in the description. So please do head over to them and subscribe to them if you've not done so before. Also hit that like button on this and subscribe to us if you're new here too. And yeah, let's see what happens at the weekend. As a Wolves fan, it's going to be an interesting game. And yeah, maybe not. Maybe for you two, you're not looking forward to it too much. But lads, thanks for joining.